are 2 weeks away from the biggest AEW show of all time. 2 weeks away from possibly the biggest pro wrestling show of all time. AEW All In. They've shattered WrestleMania records. They shattered United Kingdom pro wrestling records already. And this was without a single match announced for the show. But what if I told you that there is now locker room frustration, which I'm not surprised by. Locker room frustration on how Tony Khan has handled the build and the construction and the lack of a match card and everything in between. Locker room unhappiness about the way Tony Khan has planned All In up until this point. Would you believe me? I know most of you would, because a lot of us on social media, and yes, we are a small percentage of the audience, a lot of us in the wrestling community started asking 4 or 5 weeks ago, where's the match card? Why isn't there a match announced for this show? It was up to us to piece together a card and figure out, like we're detectives, where Tony Khan was going with this show. We asked it then. And now we are 2 weeks away, and we still only have 30% of a match card, even now, with 2 weeks left to go. We are a little over a week, less than 2 weeks, from AEW All In at Wembley Stadium, the biggest pro wrestling event in AEW history, the biggest pro wrestling event in pro wrestling history. Despite the loftiness of the event, AEW has been a little slow in booking the card and setting up a show legitimately with matches, with the first few matches only being confirmed over the past 2 weeks. Such a slow, seemingly half-hearted approach to booking this card has led to frustration with some fans. But according to a report from SEScoops.com, this unrest has spread to the AEW Locker Room as well. Now, this is an anonymous pro wrestler that works within AEW that reached out to SE Scoops and says this, and I quote, "A lot are upset about Wembley," one wrestler told SE Scoops. "Maybe if it were just Wembley, it would be different. But with everything that's happened over the last year, it's becoming the one major issue. People want to know if they're going to do London, if they're going to London, what the card is going to be. It's a show everyone wants to be on." I'll get back to that point in a second. That one really stuck out to me. It's a show everyone wants to be on. It's like our WrestleMania 3 or maybe our WrestleMania 1, but there isn't any urgency. People are scared we aren't going to live up to this moment. End quote. Another source in the same report gave AEW president and head booker Tony Khan a little bit of slack, admitting that such frustration from fans is understandable. Wow, there's somebody in the locker room that's level-headed. This anonymous wrestler said this, and I quote, "He said in the presser just after Forbidden Door that Wembley would be a card that would take time to build," another AEW employee stated. He said, "This was going to be the case, so I'm not sure why everyone is disgruntled about it. I get the fans, but Bryan Danielson would have likely been in the main event or at the top of the card somewhere. Then he breaks his arm the same night Tony said this, so it was already a factor before anyone knew how badly he was hurt. That caused a huge change in plans. Tony even said injuries are going to make this like this first Forbidden Door show when things developed and were scheduled late, and that's been the case." End quote. First of all, I don't know why we're using Bryan Danielson as an excuse. Bryan Danielson is one man. Bryan Danielson is one pro wrestler. So how does his injury at Forbidden Door against Okada factor into not giving us an entire card for AEW All In? That's one match. Now, the rumor was that it was going to be Danielson and Kenny Omega for the show at Wembley, which is fine. I mean, I would have taken that any any nights of the week, if you're asking me. But that's one match. That happened at Forbidden Door at the end of June. Bryan broke his arm at the end of June. What was it? June 26, June 27, around that time frame. You got all of July and all of August, and you're using Bryan Danielson breaking his arm 2 months ago as an excuse as to why Tony Khan can't find an opponent for Kenny Omega, which will lend itself to being one of 10 matches on the show. You couldn't find an opponent. You couldn't rewrite plans. You couldn't come up with creative for Kenny Omega in 2 months because Bryan Danielson, your original plan, got injured 2 months ago. Sounds like a fucking excuse, a bullshit one at that to me. I don't understand why people are using that as the excuse to hang their hat on. Now, going back to what was said in the first paragraph by the first wrestler that reached out to SE Scoops, it's becoming one major issue. Maybe if it was just Wembley, it would be different. But with everything that's happened over the last year, it's becoming the one major issue. What's the one major issue? The fact that Tony Khan likes to book the weekly shows according to what Tony Khan wants to see that week. He wakes up, he's got an idea for a match, he makes it happen. If there's a storyline that goes along with it, or a potential storyline that goes along with it, then it's just the cherry on top of the cake. But the point of the matter is, Tony Khan wakes up on any given day and wants a match to happen. He's going to make it happen, whether anybody likes it or not. That's the fucking problem. That is a major problem. That is very much like Vince McMahon and what he did when booking WWE. He booked for Vince. He didn't book for the fans. He didn't book for any of us. And the writing team, which Tony Khan has barely anybody on the writing team. It's him and a couple of people, and him being the majority, decision maker. Vince had 40 to 50 writers across both Raw and SmackDown. And they all wrote for him. Oh, would Vince like this? Oh, would Vince get a laugh at this? Oh, would Vince not like this? I don't know if we can do that, man. That sounds like something Vince won't like. It's Vince, 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 Vince. Meanwhile, Tony Khan has the same fucking approach. I'm starting to realize that there is really no difference between Tony Khan and Vince McMahon when it comes to their mentality on how they operate on their weekly television shows. Tony books for Tony. They want to pretty it up and disguise it up as, yeah, Tony's booking for the fans. He's giving fans pro wrestling. Is he? Because if he was giving us pro wrestling, then we'd have fucking build to these pay-per-views. You guys remember Double or Nothing, right? The same thing happened with Double or Nothing. We were 3 weeks left to go until Double or Nothing, and we didn't have a fucking match announced for Double or Nothing. Or if we did have a match, the build for the entirety of the show was not there. Then they want to cite, it's fatigue in the Las Vegas market. Oh, it's this. Nobody wants to travel to Las Vegas to go watch a pro wrestling show on Memorial Day. Well, they wanted to do it the year before, and the year before that, and the year before that. What happened? It's the fact that you didn't give them any reason to want to go out and buy a fucking ticket to the show. I'm sorry. I'm not giving AEW an easy pass anymore. This is becoming a fucking problem, and I've noticed it well before anybody else. And now it's starting to bleed into their biggest show of the year. This show should have been built right out of Forbidden Door. Soon as that fucking dynamite after Forbidden Door hit the airwaves, there should have been build. 2 months. Now we're getting matches announced. We're literally 2 weeks away, and we have 3 fucking matches. MJF and Adam Cole, which at this point, I'm starting to believe that they didn't know what the fuck they wanted to do with this. And they base it, when they say they caught lightning in a bottle, they caught lightning in a bottle. They caught it. They didn't realize what was going to happen when they first put these two together. And then when things started to pick up, that's when they kind of decided to keep the ball rolling. You think these people had fucking plans? You think that this was in the pipeline for months to do MJF and Adam Cole and get this to this point? Of course not. It happened on one night, and they kept it going because people fucking loved the duo together. That's the way AEW works. AEW, I want to praise long-term booking, and AEW had this thing about them in year 1 and year 2, and long-term booking was ingrained in everything that they did. They lived and died by it. They don't live and die by long-term booking anymore. They live and die by flash-in-the-pan, happenstance booking. That's what their motto is now, and you're clearly seeing it with All In. 2 months. 2 months to build a fucking build. You had 2 months to build stories. You had 2 months to build an actual card to get people excited about. And Tony Khan and AEW management has taken the fucking fans, including me, who's actually bought tickets to this show and will be there flying out of LaGuardia to go to this shit in 2 weeks. I'm going to be there, has taken fans like me and everybody else for granted, because this business model of these pro wrestling promoters and these companies now in North America, oh, we got their money, we can do whatever the fuck we want. No, that's not the case. You're treating these people like they don't really matter. And Tony Khan, listen, man, I've spoken to Tony Khan. I've spoken to Tony Khan a few times, and he's a fucking great man. He's a great human being. But this mentality of, hey, he's right about everything, and it's going to be his way or the highway, it is starting to really show its ugly head. It really is. He's a great human being. Don't get me wrong. He's done a lot of good, and there's a lot of good there as far as who he is. But the way he's handling things with his roster is disgusting. It really is. This motto and this mentality of, we got the fans' money. They'll get a card when we say we get a card. I mean, you even got people like Bully Ray advocating, don't announce any matches. Just have the wrestlers come out of the curtain and you get what you get. It's like one big mystery box. No, that's not the way you handle fucking business. That's a slap in the face of everybody that's deciding to order this shit on pay-per-view and deciding to go be there live to experience history with you and support what you've built over the last 4 years. All because you got our money doesn't give you the right to skimp and then be lazy. No, we want you to take our money and then we want you to apply that and make us even more excited than when we first heard this announcement that you were going to be there. Now you've taken everybody else's money and basically said this to the fans. And for the people watching on pay-per-view, they're a whole different fucking audience. How do you think they feel? Now, granted, I'll pay fucking $50 for MJF and Adam Cole alone, but I'm just me. What about everybody else? Oh, yeah, we'll give them FTR and the Young Bucks. Oh, yeah, we'll give them Darby and Sting versus Swerve and AR Fox. Oh, yeah, we'll give them CM Punk and Samoa Joe. Okay, that's fine. I mean, is that going to be worth $50 to a lot of people? I mean, I guess it's up to you. But when I look at the matches that have already been laid out for this show, I'm thinking, is that good enough for All In? Because I'm not like, hey, excited about it. I'm excited about it. But the locker room says, we're not going to live up to this moment. People are scared that we're not going to live up to this moment. I'm a big Joe guy. I'm a big Samoa Joe guy. I'm a big CM Punk guy. I am. But I don't really have this overwhelming fucking, oh my God, I got to fly to London to go see CM Punk and Samoa Joe. I don't. The way that I look at it is, all right, you gave CM Punk creative freedom to do whatever the fuck he wants, and that's what he chose. So Tony Khan, the boss, is not making the matches. CM Punk is making the matches. The Young Bucks, FTR. You know what I think when I hear that? Well, you gave us 80% of the fucking six-man tag that we want to see, worthy of this show. So why don't you, as a boss, TK, get Kenny, get Punk, get them in the match, and fuck everybody else? That's the way I look at it. That match is worthy of All In. You want to make a statement? This is a statement show. This isn't some fucking indie show in front of 10,000 people at the Now Arena in Chicago. This is the big boy league. You're giving us FTR and the Young Bucks. Why not round that up to CM Punk and Kenny Omega and give us the match that would burn the entire country down? Never mind fucking Wembley Stadium. TK's the boss. He pays the fucking bills. He signs the paychecks. All he needs to do is be a fucking boss. Hey, this is my fucking company. This is my money. You do what I say, and you get in the fucking ring and you entertain these fucking people, because that is the spirit of All In. That's what built the first fucking show, and that is what is giving us this second show fucking 10 times more than what we got in the Now Arena 5 years ago. Tell me when I am telling lies. Or if you don't want to do that and you want to keep it with FTR and the Young Bucks and build a story out of it following the show, then you give us Kenny versus CM Punk. Because what is Kenny Omega going to do? What is Kenny Omega going to do that is worthy of All In? First of all, the fact that Kenny Omega doesn't have a match announced 2 weeks before the fucking show is disgusting in itself. Now you're going to put him in a match that nobody gives a fuck about because you want to play it safe and nobody wants to work with each other. I am not the only one that is vastly disappointed in all this. Everybody's a fucking crybaby. TK is not a boss. TK is soft. And he's let this thing get this bad 2 weeks before the show, and people are now getting frustrated, and rightfully so. What is Kenny Omega going to be doing at All In? Oh, yeah, he's teaming with Kota Ibushi. He's teaming with whoever, Adam Page. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a shit. Who is he wrestling? Jay White, Juice Robinson, and Konosuke Takeshita. Great. Oh, then you're going to get the elitists. Oh, well, this is 6 years of story, man. You gotta go look at what they did in Japan, man. I don't give a fuck what happened in New Japan. I give a shit about what happens here. New Japan is not All In. New Japan, I wasn't watching New Japan for 4 fucking years. I was watching All Elite Wrestling for 4 fucking years. I don't give a shit what these guys did in the past in a different fucking promotion. I don't give a shit. You want to play it off like it's something important? You go do you and make it sound all pretty. It's not logistically, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's not logical. You're going to play it off as, oh yeah, there's 6 years, 7 years of build here. What story? You asked for story, I'm giving you story. No. You can't use that as a crutch anymore for a fucking show where you're selling 80,000 plus. Give me a fucking break with the goddamn excuses. Stop. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't give a shit where you work. If you work there, if you're one of the roster members watching me, I don't give a fuck, man. I'll say whatever the fuck I want on this channel. He's fumbled the ball. Never mind at the 1 yard line. For him to fumble the ball at the 1 yard line means that he fucking ran 99 other yards. Perfect. TK didn't even make it to fucking midfield. Never mind. Need a fucking break with this nonsense and these excuses for AEW, the elitists. To them, you can do no wrong. You are doing wrong. You're taking the fucking fans for granted, and this show should be built like your WrestleMania. And I hate using that as an example because WWE doesn't even build their fucking shows. They don't even build their WrestleManias like a WrestleMania. But you get my point. You're supposed to be better than that. You're supposed to show them how it's done. And you've done nothing but show us that you're no better. And Tony Khan has shown us that he's just exactly like Vince McMahon, but he's younger and he's more suave and he's cooler to the fucking internet fan base. And he's a mark, and he's a fan, and he's a historian. He's got all his knowledge. But he books the shows for TK. He doesn't book the shows for you and I. It comes off that way. Look at Dynamite. Jeff Jarrett versus Jeff Hardy? The fuck does that have to do with All In? What? Oh, but it's a Texas death match. I should not be seeing a single fucking segment on this show that doesn't have anything to do with All In. Yet here we are. Here we are. I don't understand the logic. I don't. Samoa Joe and CM Punk, fine. Punk wants to do it. He gets what he wants. You've already given him fucking immunity in the company. You've given him such a long fucking leash, you might as well fucking unhook the motherfucker. Let him run around wild. That's exactly what he's doing. You want Samoa Joe? Fine. Is it going to get people excited? No. No. It's not. Might as well leave CM Punk off the fucking show because I don't see that match selling any more fucking pay-per-view buys than originally planned. We've already seen it. We've already seen it. And it was probably something a little bit more important, like your Owen Hart Cup. What are they fighting for now? FTR and the Young Bucks? People are only going to look at that as, hey, well, if you gave us those 4 guys, why not include the other 2 guys? What's going on? TK's a bitch. That's what's the problem. He don't want to call up Kenny. He don't want to call up Punk and tell everybody, I'm the fucking boss here. You listen to me. You are making a hell of a lot more money than anybody anticipated. And I just signed these fucking guys to lifetime contracts. You get in the fucking ring, and I want to see GTSs. I want to see V-Triggers. I want to see One-Winged Angels. And I want you guys to go out there and be as professional as you can and give the fucking fans every single dime that they pay for. Would this happen in WWE? Would this lack of leadership happen in WWE? Again, I hate using that because Vince is a cocksucker. Can't stand the fucking man. But would this happen over there? No, everybody would do business. Everybody would do business. There's money to be made. And you're throwing all that money the fans gave you away. 4 matches. 4 matches you announced. I'm sorry. I deserve better. You deserve better. Fans deserve better. AEW is taking you for granted. The other thing I want to mention before I get the hell out of here, it's a show everyone wants to be on. Not everybody's going to be on the show. Not everybody deserves to be on the show. Not everybody's going to make it to London. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Not everybody belongs on WrestleMania. This was an argument that I had weekly with everybody when WrestleMania was still an 8-hour fucking snooze fest. The fact that they moved this show to 2 nights, my God, man, it was the greatest decision that WWE's ever done for WrestleMania. Not everybody belongs on WrestleMania. There'd be a battle royal, Andre the Giant battle royal. There'd be a fucking 8-woman fucking fatal fucking 8-way. I mean, give me a break. They were just throwing people on the show for the sake of throwing people on the show because everybody's got to have a piece of the WrestleMania pie. No, if you've earned it and you deserve it, then maybe you'll get a spot. Has everybody earned it in AEW? Has everybody deserved a spot to be here on All In? The answer is fuck no. No. Triple H did it with TakeOver. How many TakeOver matches did you see on a NXT TakeOver? Dallas, New York, Seattle, Houston, Orlando, blah, blah, blah. How many matches? 5 matches. Maybe, if it called for it, a 6th match, but that was a rare occasion. They had how many fucking people on that roster ready to go for a takeover, but they missed the takeover. You know what you do? You got 5 matches. You know what you do if you're that wrestler, that male wrestler, that female wrestler watching these take? Oh man, I want to be on that show. I want to be on that show. If you're not one of the 5 matches, you know what you do? You get back out there during the fucking next set of TV tapings and you bust your fucking ass to prove to everybody that you belong on NXT TakeOver because those shows were built as the most important fucking shows that show puts on. Do you see that here on AEW? Of course you don't, because TK's booking for himself. There's nothing to do with storylines. It has nothing to do with build. They took your money and they fucking ran to the goddamn bank. They took your money and the only fucking thing that they want to tout is, oh yeah, we got a $10 million gate. We broke attendance records. We beat WrestleMania. We beat WrestleMania. Great. I'm glad that we can add to your gloating about analytics and statistics about AEW. Because you can't wait to throw it in WWE's face. Meanwhile, what you're doing is throwing the trust from the fan base in the fucking trash along with it. Absolutely disgusting behavior. I hate this fucking motto where, yep, we got their money. They can wait on a card. We sold 90,000. We don't need to announce a card. Motherfucker, I better be getting Andrade versus Malachi. I better be getting fucking something else that's going to pique my fucking interest. What are you going to do? You're going to put 4 matches there announced and what? 6 others, 7 others that are just randomly thrown together matches with no story and no build and no intensity, no heat. Banger after banger after banger. This was the greatest banger show of all time. Meanwhile, there's no fucking story, and it's going to be one of those shows where people are going to look at it and say, yeah, it was a great pro wrestling show, but what did it really mean in the long run for AEW? Then we got All Out. And we go right to All Out. Can't even let that one breathe. You got to go right into All Out, which is also, I'm sure, mounting up on Tony Khan's front door. How much can he digest? How much is he going to really sink his claws into? He can't even run the fucking shows now correctly. He's got to build for 2 pay-per-views in a single week. Who came to that conclusion? If you can't handle the heat, then maybe you should find some fucking more chefs. Go find some new chefs, bro. Because clearly the head chef here doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And right now, he is, I don't want to say he's burned down the kitchen, but my God, man, this guy is one accident away from that happening. Give me a break. I don't want to see fucking dream matches. I want story. I want story. Where's the story? Where's the AEW that gave us long-term booking? Is this the same fucking company that gave us Hangman and Kenny Omega versus the Elite? Is this the same company that gave us Kenny Omega versus Adam Page for the World Championship? Is this the same company that gave us CM Punk and MJF? I don't know anymore. I don't really know anymore. Where's that long-term booking? Seemingly it's gone out the window, and they don't find it to be important anymore. Forbidden Door is for the dream matches. Forbidden Door is the all-star game of pro wrestling. I don't want to see All In become Forbidden Door when we just got Forbidden Door. You can't take Forbidden Door and use that as an example. Well, we're going to get dream matches. Everybody wants dream matches. This and that. I just got that 2 months ago. This is AEW's heart and soul. This is what got them on the map. Start booking like it. Stop taking your fans for granted. And stop being fucking lazy. I can't tell the difference between WWE and AEW, Vince McMahon, and Tony Khan anymore, man. Everything's starting to feel and look the same. Stop using excuses, stop making excuses, and get with the fucking program. Fans have a right to be frustrated, and the weekly shows have proven that to be the case. Tony Khan's booking for himself, and it's destroying All In. Thank you guys very much for all your support. I really appreciate you hanging out with me today. I'm assuming we're going to go over all this again tonight on AEW's Dynamite Post Show right here on OTS. Jesse and I have a lot to say. You're not going to want to miss what is going to be a very, very, very upfront and intense discussion about the state of AEW right now with CM Punk and All In, with the fans being frustrated about everything that they're watching. Make sure you guys follow me on social media, at JD from NY206, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Cameo. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below, turn on the bell for notifications, and if you found anything of value in this video, and if you agreed with me on anything, I would appreciate you guys hit that thumbs up. Let's try for 1,000 likes minimum. Guys, I'll be back tonight with Jesse live for AEW Dynamite Post Show right here on OTS, and with more wrestling news throughout the week right here on Off the Script.